Howdy, guys, and welcome to Cliff Notes, and welcome to a recap of episode 13 of the Challenge 38 Ride or Die. All right, yet another exciting episode. I gotta say, starting off with the Ride or Dies, where you came in with your tight duo, and now they're split up. It's creating all kinds of different issues, and we're going to talk about that as we get into this episode a little bit, because it certainly created some divided loyalties this evening. Who are you most loyal to, your team or your Ride or Die? And who should you be the most loyal to? Great episode. But before we talk about this evening's episode, let's talk about what happened last week. If you recall, I hated to see it. Nelson was gone. Nelson got eliminated, which meant that Norris also went home now that both sides of the Ride or Die are out. So they're done. I don't think there's any way they're coming back at this point. Their season is over. Again, I hated to see it. Really cheering for Nelson, but I'm sure he will be back yet again. All kinds of repercussions from the men's elimination last week, though. We've got Faisal. He's got to be gunning for Devin and Jordan since they were gunning for him, trying to get him out, right? You would think so. So we certainly have that little conflict. Will Faisal, though, also be going after his Ride or Die Mariah? She could have cast a vote for Jordan, which would have tied it up, or for Nelson, which would have tied it up, the vote between Faisal and Nelson, potentially saved him from going in. She didn't do it. How's Faisal going to take that? And then finally, what's happening with the ongoing saga between Tori and Jordan? Not very happy at all with each other. Kind of came to a head last week. So all kinds of conflicts going on that we're going to see. Some of them get resolved this week. Some of them are just stewing and simmering. All right. As we start off this particular episode, let's talk about Faisal and Mariah. As I mentioned, she could have voted to send Nelson into elimination, which would have tied the vote between her and between Nelson and Faisal, her Ride or Die. Instead, she cast a burner vote, didn't count, meant that Faisal went in for elimination. He's calling her out, basically. He's saying, look, you could have just evened up the votes. We are Ride or Dies. And she's trying to say, oh, I didn't realize. She knew. I don't think anyone's buying the fact that she's trying to say maybe she didn't quite understand or didn't realize that it was going to happen the way that she knew it. In fact, she tells the camera a little bit later, she says, look, it wouldn't have helped my game to vote Nelson, because then it would have created a tie. It would have put all of my team at risk. If it's a tie in the challenge, sometimes the people that are supposed to be making the decisions, then one of them ends up going in anyway. I get all of that. And certainly she's got to play her game over Faisal's, and that may mean protecting her team as well. But it's tough when you're not protecting your Ride or Die. It's not just Faisal. I think there's a lot of other people on the other team are going to really see her as a kind of a lone wolf. They're not going to worry so much about trying to protect her and offending Faisal at this point in time. So it could come back and bite her. We're going to find out. All right. We also have, in addition to Faisal calling out Mariah, we've got Faisal calling out Jordan, saying, look, you didn't have my back also. You were talking about how, my name wasn't going to come out of your mouth, and then it did. And Jordan basically reverts back to what he had said before, saying, look, I'm serious about it. I'm all about loyalties and all of that. But when someone threatens my life, or not my life, when someone threatens a relationship outside the game and not just as part of gameplay, the way that Tori did, then everything, all bets are off. Then that became a whole different issue. Which leads to a huge shouting match between Tori and Jordan in front of everyone, or at least in front of a lot of people in the house. Everyone's looking very uncomfortable watching these two yell at each other, holler at each other. And I got to think, having been in the Big Brother house and knowing how uncomfortable conflict sometimes makes a lot of the people, the more these two go after each other, the more there's going to be people, even if they don't vocalize it, they're going to be thinking, get rid of one of them, get rid of both of them, just so we don't have to listen to the arguing. I really think they need to get this resolved one way or the other. Of course, the producers of the challenge love it, but I think they need to mend some fences and get this stuff taken care of before they really get everyone irritated with the arguing, the bickering, and just the animosity with each other. We'll find out if it happens or not. Probably not, which as a viewer is going to make it that much more exciting. But they do have their own shouting match that's going on. We've got some people that are a little worried this week about the competition coming up. We assume it's women's elimination since it was men's last week. Tori is telling her team that she figures she's a top target if they lose this week. She says, yeah, Jordan over there, he'll put me up. Everyone's going to be willing to put me up. So I think I'll be a top target if it comes to our side getting eliminated this week. But we've also got Casey talking, not to her team, but talking to the cameras, talking about how tough this week is for her. And she's mentioning the fact that if the other team loses, then Nani is one of only 3 women. Remember, on the other team, Mariah's team, we only have Nani and Amber and Mariah. So 2 people are fighting for elimination out of those 3 if that side loses this week. So Casey's worried. She says to the camera, she said, I know if the other team loses, it very well could be Nani fighting for her survival in this game. She's my girlfriend. I don't want her to have to do that. But she's also realizing that if her team loses, it very well could be KC fighting for survival instead. So again, you care about the other, your ride or die that's on the other team, but do you care enough to put your own game at risk by not giving 100% in the challenge competitions? I don't think so. I don't think any of them do that. But Casey is worried about, no matter which side wins, that it could impact her or Nani. So with all that being said, let's talk about the weekly challenge competition that is held. And this week it's called Blind Faith, which doesn't mean a thing to me, but TJ quickly lines it out for us. He mentions that there's 4 challenges in this event, 4 different competitions. We don't know what the competitions are, but each one's going to involve 1 or 2 members of one team against 1 or 2 members of the other team, go against each other head to head. But here's the kicker. You have to decide who's going to compete in which competition before you actually know what the competition is. They get a little symbol, like a little bullseye looking target or a little puzzle piece looking thing. So they kind of know that maybe one could be dexterity, one could be puzzle solving, things like that. But you don't truly know what it is until you've already committed your people to play in the competition. So the team has to decide who's going to play in which of the competitions before they know what the event is. The first event, probably the most fun event of certainly of this episode, maybe the whole season so far. The first event is Jordan versus Faisal, and I think they both choose to do this. I think Jordan does it because I can't remember which one. I think it's Faisal does it because he sees a bullseye target as a symbol. Figure shooting, targeting, something like that. Why wouldn't he do the one as pure athletic strength or whatever? I don't know, but he chooses to do this one, if I recall. And then TJ asks, Jordan says, why are you doing it? Because Faisal's doing it, which works for me. But the event is this: launching balls. It'll look like probably golf balls, perhaps. Launching golf balls or balls with slingshots into some distant targets, some ceramic pieces that you have to knock. I think you've got there's probably 5-6 targets over there, but the first person to knock 3 of those targets, to break 3 of the targets, wins this particular competition. That's the easy part. The less easy part is that every time you miss your target, and these targets are a long way down down in the field, every time you miss a target, you have to drink a disgusting cocktail. I don't think they ever said what was in this drink. All I know is that there were several different liquids in there and things floating around that probably just as well we don't know what they are. It looked disgusting. I can only imagine from a smell and a taste standpoint, even worse. I love to see it, as I've said multiple times so far this season and last couple of seasons. Drinking challenges is Faisal's Achilles heel. He does not handle those things well. I want to see him overcome that if he's going to win the challenge. So here's your chance, Faisal. Drink up, my friend, and let's see how you do. Can you win one for your team with it? Well, it's pretty rough. There are a lot of cocktails to be drunk in this particular competition because they are both missing just really every single shot. And I don't blame them. The targets are a long way away. They're missing every shot. They're having to drink these things. There's lots of vomiting, not just Faisal. It's coming from Jordan as well. They're both throwing up everywhere. Now, I'll give them credit. They're still drinking it. It's not that they're refusing to drink. So they're doing what they can. Their body's just not quite. Body may know what's best for them. That's probably get this stuff out of here as quickly as possible. But a lot of vomiting going on. Of course, everyone. Oh my God, Johnny Bananas is laughing. TJ's laughing. Everyone's laughing, having a blast watching these 2 guys suffer. I was laughing a little bit as well. But eventually, Jordan finally hits one of his targets, and then he actually gets the next 2. And he does this with the help of Devin, who's acting as a spotter. Devin and Jordan on the same team together. Devin, I'm amazed that he can do it off to the side where he is, but he's able to watch the ball as it's shot and see if it's gone high, low, short, far, whatever. So he's starting to give Jordan instructions about, now you got to shift a little left, you got to pull further back, come up. He's a spotter. It works perfectly. Jordan quickly hits his, I say quickly, it could have still taken forever and we may not have seen it, but Jordan hits his 3 targets first. Jordan has won this particular competition. But here's the thing. These competitions aren't based on points. You don't get a point for winning. Whoever has 3 out of 4 at the end wins the comp. Now, it's a cumulative time with these competitions. So Jordan has won. He's got his time locked in. But that doesn't mean that Faisal can stop. Faisal still has to keep shooting his because he's got a time that he's got to lock in and hope that people in other challenges on down the road can make up the time that Faisal lost by coming in second place. So it's not over for Faisal. He's continuing to drink and vomit so much that eventually Jordan and Devin start helping him. They start acting as spotters to help Faisal because they feel so sorry for him. I've got mixed feelings on this. On the one hand, do you ever help the person on the other team? I think Jordan and Devin probably feel a little safer because they know it's a women's elimination this week. So even if something weird happened and it came back and bit them, they're still not going home this week because of it. So they're a little bit insulated. They're a little bit protected. The other thing, too, again, last week, they both called out Faisal, sent him into elimination. They know Faisal's looking at them as the huge targets when he gets a chance. Are they trying to smooth things out, smooth things over a little bit, do a little damage control by helping Faisal so they can later come back and say, it's all game. It's nothing personal. We helped you with this competition because we felt bad about the way it was going. We're just trying to help you. I don't think it's going to matter. I think if Faisal's team wins, it's still Jordan and Devin going up. But I think there could have been a little bit of damage control going on. Now, if I'm on the ladies on Jordan and Devin's team, I may not be quite so happy that they were helping and acting as spotters. But they did it, and it worked. Faisal finally finishes up the competition before he times out. Yeah, he drank them, but I'm still waiting to see how he handles eating and drinking this disgusting stuff in a finale itself. First step down. We'll see how Faisal does going forward. All right, challenge number 2. We've got Anissa and Olivia on one team versus Nani and Devin. This is a puzzle solving. They have big, 3 or 4 foot long pieces, kind of a tanagram like we all see in so many of these puzzles. Big old tanagram pieces. They have to carry them across a field, maybe 100 yards or so, maybe not quite that long, but they have to carry all these pieces across a field. Once they get it across the field, then they have to solve it, put them in the right position so it basically forms a rectangle. It looks like Devin and Nani are doing strong, and we know Devin's a great puzzle solver, but on this one, Anissa and Olivia take it. Congratulations. Yeah, Anissa, she's good at a lot of competitions. Running with pieces back and forth isn't always her strongest skill set, but she's given 100%. She certainly carried her weight on this competition, and I'm continually impressed by Olivia and the way she's played this season. They take the second challenge. Again, it's a timed competition. I think that the Faisal's team is, again, Faisal was so far behind everyone else. They're still quite a ways behind, but we've got 2 competitions left, or 2 challenges left. The next challenge, the third one, we got on one side, Tori and Bananas versus Amber and Horatio on the other side. This is a memory puzzle. This was a fun one. There's they start off in the middle of a field. One of the 2 team members has to run to one side of the field, look at an answer key that's got a lot of different symbols and colors and things like that. Memorize as much as they can, run back to the center of the field, tell their partner the order, the shape, the colors, things like that. That partner then has to run down to their side of the field, solve it on the big solution puzzle board. Continue to do that until you've solved the puzzle. This is a hard one because if you get one piece wrong, it could take you forever to figure out what piece that is. And fix it. So a little dangerous competition here with these going on. But I gotta say, this wasn't the Faisal wasn't that close either, but this one was not close. Amber and Horatio take this one. It looks like they beat Tori and Bananas by quite a bit. I don't know if Bananas is just slowed down a little bit this season, or he's just sandbagging a little bit, just laying off a little bit and trying to do everything possible to not make himself look like any more of a threat from a physical competition standpoint. It's enough his strategic side. So I don't know if he's actually laying off a little bit on these competitions, or he's just slowed down from seasons past. But he just didn't really seem like he had this one in hand. And as it turns out, he did. And Amber and Horatio take the third competition. So now we've got the final challenge. We've got Mariah's team still way ahead of Faisal's team because Faisal took so long at that first target shooting. This is a kind of cool one. This is a great one to finish up because we've got Casey and Chauncey on one team versus Jordan and Mariah on the other team. Now, this is hard for Casey and Chauncey because Casey's ride or die is Nani. Well, I say that. Not really. Casey's ride or die is Kenny, but Casey's girlfriend is Nani, who's at risk if that side loses. Chauncey's girlfriend is Amber, who's also on the other side and at risk if they lose. So in a lot of ways, Casey and Chauncey winning for their team puts their key people at huge risk going forward. So again, it's got to be tough, tearing you both ways, very emotional, playing at their hearts a little bit with this thing. But they've got Casey and Chauncey again versus Jordan and Mariah. Mariah certainly wants to win this thing and keep herself from potentially going up for elimination. The competition itself involves the two teammates attached to each other with a very long bungee cord that's anchored at the starting point. When the whistle blows or the horn blows, they both have to run towards a rail, a piece of tubing that's just a little bit longer than that bungee cord really wants to stretch. So while one is holding on to the pole, the other one has to really fight the resistance of the bungee cord and also grab hold on the pole itself. So stretch the bungee cord as far as you can in order for both teammates to be holding onto the pole at the same time. Whoever does that first locks in their time, compare the times of all four events at the end to see how it works out. Now, this is a hard one. Yeah, it is. This looks like an intensely physical competition. But as it turns out, Chauncey and Casey, remember I talked about split loyalties and pulling on the emotional heartstrings and all that? They did what they had to do for the team. They gave it 100%. Chauncey and Casey take this thing first. They grab hold. If I recall, I think Casey is holding on. Chauncey basically just was able to grab hold of Casey's ankle, pull himself up over her body to get a little more grip until he got hold of the pole itself. So they've won the competition, but what really matters is their time going to be strong enough to beat the other side, Jordan and Devin and Mariah's team. So it all comes down to Jordan and Mariah and how quickly can they potentially solve this problem. Jordan, this is his second comp because they're a person down. He had to do the first competition and this one. They try. It's not through lack of effort, but they just can't get there. Mariah just maybe doesn't have the strength to pull against that bungee cord when she holds onto the pole, and Jordan starts pulling it. It pulls her back enough. She keeps letting go of the pole. As a result, they time out, and what no one expected to happen happens. Faisal, even with such a long time for that first eating competition, still has a better time overall. They have won the competition, which means Mariah's team has lost. Mariah, Nani, or Amber, one of them is almost certainly going home this particular week. So, yeah, another victory for Faisal. They lost one teammate, but they're going to get their numbers back again and have a couple of people up after this week. So, with that being said, Nani, Amber, and Mariah are at risk, and they're all three going to be interrogated by the winning team. We'll go through that real quick. First of all, we've got Nani talking about how many friends she has on the winning team, how much she appreciates it. Nani is in a great position. She's got a lot of relationships working for her in the house, which is, as long as you've got these two team formats, is really going to benefit her. So I feel like she's safe, but she's talking about how much she appreciates having all the friends. I think she knows she's safe too, potentially safe. But she's talking about how strong Amber is as a player. And she's also talking about the fact that, hey, Mariah is a rookie. A rookie. Remember that, guys. We still have a rookie over here who hadn't really had to compete. So keep both of them in mind over me. Amber is pointing out also that Mariah is a rookie. She says, look, all of us, when we came in as rookies, we had to prove ourselves early in each of our seasons. Mariah hadn't had to do anything yet. Mariah's just been able to kind of coast a little bit. Isn't it time for Mariah to have to prove herself in the elimination ring? So she certainly wants Mariah down there. The main thing that Amber does not want, Amber doesn't want it to become an elimination of her versus Nany. She feels tight with Nany. She doesn't want either one of them to go home. She wants Mariah in this competition versus either her or Nany. She thinks either one of them could beat Mariah. She just doesn't want Amber and herself, or Nany and herself, in there together. And then finally, we've got Mariah in there saying, look, I know Nany's safe. I know she's got all the connections over here. Yeah, she's not going to be picked by y'all for the elimination. But with that being said, Faisal again kind of calls her out and says, look, you didn't say me last week. So how do you want it to go this week? And I can't remember who it was. It may have been Jordan or Nisa who says, basically, Faisal just kind of, or it could have been Banana, said Faisal just kind of gave us permission to pick Mariah by calling her out and identifying that she didn't help him when the shoe was on the other foot. So that's the interrogation. It's now time for the elimination. They're going to the zone. Who's going to be picked? Who's going to be going up for elimination? Who's going to be safe? The first thing we've got is the vote from the winning team. Who wants who to go into the elimination arena? We've got Faisal and Olivia both voting for Nany. Faisal says, look, Mariah, I'm not calling your name out. So even though she kind of burned him last week, he's not just going overboard with grudge. So Faisal and Olivia both vote Nany. Bananas votes to send Amber into elimination. KC and Chauncey vote for Mariah. So we got some votes heading everyone's direction. And we've got Tori and Anissa. They always vote together, right? Tori and Anissa both vote for Mariah. So yeah, it's as a couple of people suggested, as Amber had suggested, Mariah, the rookie, is finally getting her chance to show what she can do in the elimination arena. She's going to be going up against either Amber or Nany. It all comes down to who draws the safety dagger. With only two other ladies, there's no deciding who to protect and not. One person draws the dagger safe, the other one's going to the elimination arena. And the person who draws the safety dagger this week is Amber. Yeah, so it's going to be Nany versus Mariah. We know who most of the remaining cast is cheering for, right? I think Nany. Certainly Casey's cheering for Nany. Now, Faisal may kind of yay Mariah, but I think for most part, most people are cheering for Nany in this next competition. And the competition is called I Can See. And I love this competition. This was a cool one. Basically, there's in front of each contestant 6 scrambled words that you have to unscramble them, then put the words in a solution chart that's back at the starting point. That's the easy part. The hard part is that these 6 scrambled words are covered by a sliding door, extremely heavy door connected to a rope, which in turn is connected to a pulley and connected to a belt around Nany and Mariah's waist. So as they pull forward, as they move forward, fight against the weight of this door, they can get the weight lifted up enough to see one of the words, unscramble it, go back. As they go back, the door closes back down, but put the solved word back up on their own answer board. Continue to do that until they've solved all 6 words. Whoever does that hits the button first, wins the competition, stays alive. The other one goes home. Yeah, I love word scrambles. I love mental puzzles, things like that. Those are the kind I feel like I do a little better than carrying 100-pound logs around the fields and all that. But these are hard words. These are not easy words at all. There's a lot of them I froze, and it took a lot of time for me to figure out how to unscramble them, or what the unscrambled word is. I can only picture when you're in the heat of the competition, the stress is on you, everyone's yelling at you. Full props to both of these ladies for doing as well as they did, because they did well. It still took a while, but hard competition, hard words to solve, and these two are very close. It really looks like at the end that Nany perhaps posted her last word just a second or two before Mariah. But both of them merely said, done. Well, that's not the way it works on this competition. You have to push the button. And TJ says, you forgot to push your button. And he tells both of them, but I kind of almost wish that he hadn't said anything, just said, you're not done yet, guys. see which one would have figured out to push the button first. But he didn't. He said, you got to push your button. Both of them realized it about the same time. And it really looks like probably Mariah hit it just a split second before Nany did. And again, it all comes down to editing and all. But it looks like Mariah probably has hit the button a little bit earlier, is going to survive. She's going to be good. Except for one little spelling error that Mariah had. One of the words was devotion. And I believe that's the word that she had two of the letters transposed. She knows how to spell it. She just in a hurry had two of them flipped, which means her puzzle was not correct. Nany's was. Nany has survived this competition. Mariah has lost. Mariah, she's not going home. Her ride or die is Fessel, and he's still in the game. So as much as those two don't necessarily get along with each other, as much as Mariah was saying, look, I'm playing my game, not Fessel's game, Mariah's game is now Fessel's game. She has to hope that he continues to win so she has a chance to come back in. But Nany has survived, which obviously makes KC very happy. It makes Amber very happy. Props to Mariah. She certainly held her own, and we may see her back again another season. I don't know. We'll see. But Mariah went home this week, and again, her team, we can't call it her team anymore. We'll have to call it Devin and Jordan's probably. Devin and Jordan's team is now down 2 players once again, so we'll see how that works out going forward. But fun episode. Hate to lose Mariah, but Nany survived, and I think most people in the house were happy to see that. One more rookie out the door. It works like that every year, right? So there you have it, guys. A fun episode. Hey, Fessel ate a little bit, threw up even more. We'll see if that helps him out somewhere down the road if he makes it to the finale, because he needs to improve that part of the game. Guys, y'all have a great one. I'll be back next week to talk about episode 14. Until then, SKD143. Cheers, my friends.